The only way off is a helicopter. It cannot fly in 100-mile-per-hour winds. This is a rule of physics. It becomes a rule of survival for the 120 people on board the oil rig. They are hundreds of miles from shore. The storm is coming. There is no escape. The crew must trust the steel beneath their feet. They must trust each other. Their job is to hold this place together. The ocean does not care about their plans. It has its own. A storm warning is not a suggestion. It is a timer. Every action taken in the next 12 hours will determine the outcome. Bolts are tightened. Hatches are sealed. Loose equipment is lashed down with chains. The sound of the wind begins as a low whistle. It will soon become a scream. On the deck, waves are already crashing over the railings. Sea water sprays across the thick windows of the bridge. The Offshore Installation Manager, or OIM, watches the radar. He sees a swirling mass of red and yellow. It is the size of a small country, and it is heading directly for them. His voice over the intercom is calm. He gives orders. He follows a checklist. This is a procedure they have practiced many times, but practice is not the same as the real thing. The rig is a structure of immense strength. It is designed to withstand a 100-year storm. This storm might be that one. The crew feels the first big shudder. The entire platform groans under the strain. It is a deep, metallic sound. It is the sound of a giant machine being tested by nature. Down below, in the engine room, engineers monitor the generators. Power is everything. If they lose power, they lose control. They lose their ability to fight back. In the galley, the cooks are making sandwiches and coffee. Hot food is a small comfort. It is a reminder of normal life, but nothing about this is normal. The sky is now a dark, churning grey. The sea is a chaos of white foam and black water. The men and women on this rig are engineers, drillers, medics, and mechanics. Today, they are all just survivors. They are waiting. They are working. They are trusting in the math and the metal that separates them from the abyss. The cost of failure is absolute. An oil rig is not a boat. It is more like a building anchored in the middle of the ocean. This specific one is a semi-submersible platform. It floats on huge pontoons deep below the waves. This design keeps it stable in rough seas. The main deck is 80 feet above the normal water level. That is as high as an 8-story building. Today, that height does not feel like enough. The rig is located 180 miles off the coast of Scotland. The water here is over 600 feet deep. It is a cold, unforgiving part of the North Sea. There are 124 souls on board. They work here to drill for oil and natural gas. The drill bit extends down from the platform. It goes through the water. It goes through miles of rock beneath the seabed. This whole structure is a marvel of engineering. It weighs over 35,000 tons. It is held in place by 8 thick anchor chains. Each link in a chain weighs as much as a small car. The platform can also use powerful thrusters. These computer-controlled propellers push against the force of the waves and wind. They keep the rig precisely over the drill site. This is called dynamic positioning. It is an active fight against the ocean. On a calm day, the rig is a city of steel. It has its own power plant. It has its own water treatment facility. It has a helicopter pad, a small hospital, and living quarters. It is designed to be self-sufficient for weeks at a time. This self-sufficiency is now its only hope. The people on board are a mix of nationalities. They are experts in their fields. They come here for the high pay and the challenge. They accept the risks. But accepting a risk on paper is different from hearing it tear at the walls of your workplace. The purpose of this rig is simple. It is to extract energy from deep within the earth. This process is complex and dangerous. It involves high pressures, flammable materials, and heavy machinery. Everything must work perfectly. A single mistake can lead to disaster. That is true on a calm day. During a hurricane-force storm, the margin for error is zero. The rig has an official name, but the crew just calls it The Rock. It is their home, their workplace, and their fortress. Right now, that fortress is under siege. They can only wait for the storm to pass, or for something to break. The crew is a strict hierarchy. Everyone has a job. Everyone knows who is in charge. At the very top is the Offshore Installation Manager, or OIM. The OIM is the captain of the rig. Their word is law. They are legally responsible for every person on board. Below the OIM are department heads. There is the drilling superintendent, who manages the drilling operations. There is the maintenance supervisor, who keeps the machinery running. There is a barge master, who is responsible for the stability and position of the rig itself. Then there are the teams. The drill crew works on the drill floor. This is one of the most dangerous places on the rig. They handle massive sections of pipe and operate the drilling equipment. These workers are often called roughnecks or floor hands. They are known for their physical strength and endurance. Subsea engineers work with the equipment on the ocean floor. They control robotic vehicles. They manage the wellhead and the blowout preventer. Mechanics and electricians are everywhere. They fix everything from a broken pump to a flickering light. Their work is constant. The salt water and vibration wear everything out. There are also support staff. Medics provide medical care. Radio operators handle all communications. Cooks and stewards feed the entire crew. Every role is essential. The rig cannot function if one part of the team fails. People work in 12-hour shifts. One team works from noon to midnight. The other team works from midnight to noon. This schedule runs for 21 or 28 days straight. There are no weekends. There are no holidays. After their rotation or hitch is over, they get an equal amount of time off back home. The pay is high. An entry-level floor hand might earn over $60,000 a year. A senior engineer or the OIM can earn 3 or 4 times that amount. This money is compensation for the risk and the time away from family. The risk is real. The industry has a higher fatality rate than most others. The time away is hard. Workers miss birthdays, anniversaries, and school plays. Training is constant and intense. Every person on the rig must complete safety and survival courses. They learn how to fight fires. They learn how to escape from a submerged helicopter. They practice lifeboat drills every week. The goal is to make emergency procedures into muscle memory. When a real alarm sounds, there is no time to think. You must react. Life on the rig is cramped and noisy. Sleep is a precious resource. It is also a critical safety measure. A tired worker is a dangerous worker. The living quarters are a block of stacked shipping containers. They are welded together and bolted to the main deck. Most crew members share a small cabin with one other person. The room is tiny. It has 2 bunk beds, 2 small lockers, and a small desk. There is barely enough space for two people to stand at the same time. Many rigs use a system called hot racking or hot bunking. This means you share your bed with a person on the opposite shift. When you wake up and go to work, they come off their shift and get into the bed you just left. The mattress is never cold. It saves space, but it means you have very little personal privacy. Your only private space is a small locker. The noise never stops. It is a constant hum of generators, pumps, and ventilation systems. On the drill floor, the noise level can exceed 110 decibels. That is as loud as a rock concert. Even in the living quarters, the background noise is always there. Workers wear earplugs, but the deep vibrations travel through the steel structure. Rest is hard to find. Showers are strictly timed. Fresh water is a limited resource. It is made by desalinating sea water. This process uses a lot of energy, so everyone gets a few minutes of hot water at most. It is called a marine shower. You get wet, turn off the water, soap up, and then rinse off quickly. Fatigue is a constant battle. The 12-hour shifts are physically and mentally draining. Working in extreme weather makes it worse. A tired mind makes mistakes. A small mistake on an oil rig can have huge consequences. Forgetting to close a valve or misreading a pressure gauge could be catastrophic. Because of this, rest is treated as part of the job. There are strict rules about work hours. If a worker feels too tired to do their job safely, they are encouraged to report it. The company would rather have a worker rest for a few hours than risk an accident. In a storm, sleep is even harder to come by. The whole rig moves. It heaves and sways with the waves. The sound of the wind and crashing water is deafening. It is like trying to sleep inside a drum during a parade. But they must try. The storm will eventually pass. They will need their strength for the work that follows. Food is more than just fuel on an oil rig. It is the heart of the community. It is the main source of comfort and morale. The galley is the one place where everyone on the rig comes together. Drillers sit next to engineers. Mechanics share a table with medics. It is a neutral ground where the strict hierarchy of the rig relaxes a little. The logistics of feeding 120 people are complex. All food is brought in by supply boats. These boats arrive every few days, weather permitting. They bring fresh fruit, vegetables, meat, and dairy. They also bring frozen and dry goods. The rig can store enough food to last for several weeks. This is crucial in case storms prevent boats from reaching them. The quality of the food is surprisingly high. Companies know that good food keeps the crew happy. A happy crew is a safer and more productive crew. The cooks are professionals. They work hard to provide varied and tasty meals. A typical day of eating might include a full breakfast with eggs, bacon, and pancakes. Lunch could be a choice of soups, sandwiches, and a hot main course. Dinner is usually a large meal with multiple options like steak, fish, or pasta. There are always snacks available 24 hours a day. Fruit, pastries, ice cream, and coffee are always ready for workers coming off a long shift. The smell of fresh bread often fills the galley. It is a welcome contrast to the smell of diesel and salt. On an average day, a rig galley will serve over 300 meals. The crew consumes hundreds of pounds of food daily. Special occasions are a big deal. Steak night is a weekly tradition on many rigs. Holidays like Christmas or Thanksgiving are celebrated with huge feasts. These meals are a powerful reminder of home. They break the monotony of the long work rotations. During a storm, the galley's role is even more important. The cooks work to keep hot coffee and food available around the clock. A warm meal can be a huge psychological boost. It gives people a sense of normalcy in a chaotic situation. It is a moment of calm in the middle of the storm. The simple act of sitting together and sharing a meal strengthens the bonds between the crew. It reminds them they are all in this together. That shared experience is as important as any piece of safety equipment. At its core, an oil rig is a giant machine. It has several main systems that must work together perfectly. Understanding them helps to understand the risk. The first system is power generation. A rig is an island. It cannot plug into a power grid. It must create all its own electricity. This is done with massive diesel generators. There are usually 3 or 4 of them, each the size of a shipping container. They run 24 hours a day. They power everything from the lights in the cabins to the giant motors that turn the drill. If these generators fail, the rig goes dark. It becomes a dead piece of steel in the water. The second key system is stability. For a semi-submersible rig, this means managing ballast. The pontoons that keep the rig afloat are also giant tanks. They can be filled with or emptied of seawater. The barge master pumps water between these tanks. This keeps the deck level, even in rough seas. It is a constant balancing act. The rig also uses its dynamic positioning system. Powerful thrusters under the water push against the wind and waves. A computer gets information from GPS satellites. It tells the thrusters exactly how hard to push and in which direction. This system can hold the rig in a precise location, even during a storm. The third and most important system is the drilling package. This is the whole reason the rig exists. The most visible part is the derrick. It is the tall tower that stands in the middle of the rig. It is used to lift and lower the drill pipe. The drill pipe is made of many 30-foot sections screwed together. This is called the drill string. It can be miles long. At the end of the drill string is the drill bit. It is a cutting tool that grinds through rock. A special fluid called drilling mud is pumped down the pipe. It cools the bit and carries the crushed rock back to the surface. The most critical piece of safety equipment is the blowout preventer, or BOP. The BOP is a stack of giant valves. It sits on the seabed at the top of the well. If oil or gas starts to flow out of control, the BOP can seal the well shut. It can cut right through the drill pipe if needed. It is the last line of defense against a catastrophic blowout. All these systems are monitored and controlled from a central control room. Engineers watch hundreds of screens. They track pressures, temperatures, and power levels. They are the brain of this giant machine. Life offshore is a mental challenge. It is a world of isolation and monotony. The rig is a small, crowded space, yet it can be the loneliest place on Earth. You are surrounded by people, but you are hundreds of miles from your family and friends. The work is demanding. The 12-hour shifts are repetitive. Day after day, you wake up, eat, work, eat, and sleep. The view never changes. It is just steel, sky, and water. This routine can wear a person down. The feeling of being trapped is real. You cannot just leave. You're on the rig until your rotation is over. There is no escape from the noise, the work, or the people you work with. This isolation puts a strain on relationships back home. Phone calls and video chats help, but the internet connection is often slow and unreliable. You miss important moments. You see your children growing up on a screen. This can lead to feelings of guilt and loneliness. Homesickness is common, especially for new workers. Coping with this mental strain is a skill. It is as important as any technical skill. People find different ways to manage. The gym is a popular place. Physical exercise helps to burn off stress. Many rigs have small movie theaters and game rooms. Workers watch films together or play video games. Reading is another common escape. People share books and create small libraries. Some workers take online courses to improve their skills or learn something new. The social bonds with other crew members are vital. You work with the same people for weeks at a time. They become your temporary family. You share stories, jokes, and complaints. This sense of community helps to fight the isolation. Humor is a powerful tool. A quick joke or a friendly prank can break the tension of a long shift. But there is also pressure to be tough. Showing vulnerability can be difficult in this environment. People might hide their struggles. They worry about being seen as weak or unable to handle the job. This is changing. Companies are now more aware of mental health issues. They provide access to counseling services. They train managers to recognize the signs of stress and depression. They know that a mentally healthy crew is a safe crew. The mind is the most important tool on the rig. It must be kept in good working order. Past disasters teach hard lessons. The offshore oil industry has learned from its mistakes. The Piper Alpha disaster is the most important lesson of all. It happened on July 6, 1988, in the North Sea. It was the deadliest oil rig accident in history. 167 people lost their lives. The platform was completely destroyed. The tragedy began with a simple maintenance error. A pump was taken offline for service. A pressure safety valve was removed. A temporary metal plate was put in its place. The night shift crew was not told about this. They did not know the safety valve was missing. They tried to start the pump. Highly flammable gas condensate leaked out. It created a vapor cloud. The cloud ignited. The first explosion was massive. It blew out walls and started fires. But the worst was yet to come. The initial blast damaged the firefighting systems so that the automatic water pumps failed to start. Piper Alpha was connected by pipelines to other platforms. These platforms kept pumping gas and oil to Piper Alpha. They were feeding the fire. A second, much larger explosion occurred. It was a major gas line rupturing. The blast was huge. It destroyed the control room and the living quarters. The heat melted the steel structure. The platform collapsed into the sea. The lessons from Piper Alpha changed offshore safety forever. Before the disaster, the focus was on protecting the rig itself. After, the focus shifted to protecting the people. A formal investigation led to over 100 recommendations. These recommendations created a new safety culture. One major change was the introduction of the safety case. Every rig must now have a document. This document proves that the rig is designed and operated safely. It must identify all major hazards. It must show how those risks are managed. Another change was physical. Living quarters must now be separated from hazardous production areas. They are protected by blast walls and fire walls. This gives workers a safe place to go during an emergency. The idea of a temporary safe refuge, or TSR, became law. Communication systems were also improved. Shift handovers now follow a strict procedure. All maintenance and safety information must be clearly passed from one crew to the next. The permit-to-work system became much more rigorous. Most importantly, Piper Alpha led to a change in attitude. It empowered workers. The concept of stop work authority was strengthened. Every worker was given the right and the duty to stop any job they believed to be unsafe. They could do this without fear of punishment. The disaster showed that small mistakes and poor communication can combine to create the worst possible outcome. It taught the industry that safety is not just a set of rules. It is a way of thinking that must be shared by everyone, from the newest hire to the OIM. The memory of Piper Alpha is a constant reminder of what is at stake. Modern safety is a system of overlapping layers. It is designed to prevent accidents before they happen. It relies on procedures, technology, and people. The foundation of this system is the permit to work, or PTW. A PTW is required for any non-routine, high-risk job. This includes things like welding, working at height, or entering a confined space. The permit is a detailed checklist. It identifies the risks. It lists the precautions that must be taken. It confirms that the right equipment is being used. Everyone involved in the job must sign the permit. It is a formal agreement that the work can be done safely. The rig is covered in sensors and alarms. Gas detectors sniff the air for flammable or toxic fumes. Smoke and heat detectors watch for signs of fire. Pressure sensors monitor the pipelines and the well. If any sensor detects a problem, it triggers an alarm. There are different sounds for different emergencies. A continuous siren might mean there is a fire. An intermittent horn could signal a gas leak. The crew is trained to recognize these sounds instantly. They know exactly what to do and where to go. This is called mustering. They gather at designated muster stations. These are safe locations where the OIM can take a head count and give instructions. One of the most powerful safety tools is Stop Work Authority, or SWA. This policy gives every single person on the rig the power to stop a job. If a worker sees something unsafe, they can call a timeout for safety. It does not matter if they are a senior manager or a junior catering assistant. All work stops immediately. The team then discusses the safety concern. The issue must be resolved before work can restart. This policy creates a culture where everyone is responsible for safety. It encourages people to speak up. If all else fails, the final layer of safety is evacuation. Rigs have large, enclosed lifeboats. They are called totally enclosed, motor-propelled survival craft, or TEMPI-SC. They look like bright orange submarines. They are designed to protect occupants from fire and toxic gas. They are stocked with water, food, and first aid supplies. During a drill, the crew practices launching these lifeboats. Getting everyone off the rig safely in a real emergency is the ultimate goal. These systems, PTW, alarms, SWA, and evacuation, work together. They are designed to make sure a disaster like Piper Alpha never happens again. Beneath the formal rules and procedures, there is another layer of safety. It is the culture of the crew. It is built on small acts of kindness, shared humor, and unspoken rituals. These things create trust. Trust is the glue that holds a crew together, especially in a crisis. You will not see it written in any safety manual, but you can see it in action. A veteran driller sees a new hand struggling to lift a heavy tool. He does not shout. He quietly walks over. He adjusts the young man's grip. He shows him how to use his body weight, not just his arms. A nod of thanks is exchanged. A lesson is learned. No one was embarrassed. The team is now stronger. In the galley, a tired mechanic sits alone at a table. He has just finished a difficult 12-hour shift fixing a pump. A cook notices. She brings him a fresh piece of pie. She does not say anything. She just puts it on his table with a smile. It is a small gesture, but it tells the mechanic that his hard work is seen and appreciated. Humor is everywhere. It is a defense against the stress and boredom. It is often dry and sarcastic. A worker might put a "for sale" sign on a broken piece of equipment. Someone might change the name on a colleague's helmet to something funny. These small pranks break the tension. They remind everyone not to take themselves too seriously. There are also small rituals. Before a dangerous job, a team might gather for a final check. They look each other in the eye. It is a silent way of saying, "I've got your back." At the end of a rotation, there is a tradition on the helicopter ride home. The moment the helicopter lifts off the rig, a cheer goes up. It is a release of all the pressure from the past few weeks. It is the sound of people going home. These micro scenes of support happen all day, every day. They are the human element of safety. A crew that looks out for each other is a safe crew. They notice when someone is having a bad day. They are more likely to speak up if they see a risk. This culture of mutual respect and care is the rig's most resilient defense system. It cannot be engineered. It has to be built, one small act at a time. The world of offshore energy is changing. The frontier is moving to more difficult places. The technology is getting smarter. The very purpose of these massive structures is beginning to evolve. The future of the oil rig is being shaped by three major forces: automation, new environments, and renewable energy. First, automation is transforming the work. Robots are now used for many of the most dangerous jobs. Robotic arms can lift and connect heavy drill pipes. This reduces the number of people needed on the drill floor. It protects them from being crushed or struck by equipment. Automated systems can monitor drilling data in real time. They use artificial intelligence to predict problems before they happen. This makes drilling safer and more efficient. The goal is to move as many people as possible from the dangerous work areas into safe, remote control rooms. Some new platforms are being designed to be almost completely unmanned. They will be operated by a small crew from an office on shore. Second, the search for oil is pushing into harsher environments, like the Arctic. Drilling in the Arctic presents unique challenges. Rigs must be designed to withstand freezing temperatures and massive ice flows. They have reinforced hulls to break through sea ice. They use advanced radar to track icebergs. If a large iceberg gets too close, the rig must be able to disconnect from the well and move out of the way quickly. These ice-class rigs are some of the most technologically advanced structures ever built. They represent the extreme edge of offshore engineering. Third, the expertise learned in the oil industry is now being used for renewable energy. The future of offshore platforms is not just about oil and gas. It is also about wind. Huge offshore wind farms are being built in the same rough seas where oil rigs operate.
The foundations for these giant wind turbines are installed using the same vessels and techniques developed for oil platforms.
Some companies are even exploring the idea of converting old oil rigs into wind farm substations or hubs for green hydrogen production. The skills of the offshore worker, welding, rigging, marine operations are directly transferable. The knowledge of how to build and maintain a structure in the middle of the ocean is incredibly valuable. The oil rig, a symbol of the fossil fuel era, may become a key part of the transition to a cleaner energy future. The storm has passed. The wind is calm. The sea is returning to a gentle swell. The sun breaks through the clouds. It reflects off the wet steel deck. The crew steps outside. They inspect the rig for damage. A few handrails are bent. A storage container has shifted. But the structure is sound. The core systems held. The people are safe. There is a collective sigh of relief. It is a quiet, shared moment. The OIM's voice comes over the intercom again. His tone is different now. It is lighter. He thanks the crew for their professionalism. He announces that the galley is serving a hot breakfast. Soon, the familiar sounds of work will start again. The drilling will resume. The supply boats will arrive. The helicopters will fly. Life on the rig will return to its normal rhythm. But something has changed. The crew has been tested together. They faced the worst the ocean could throw at them, and they endured. This experience builds a unique bond. It is a trust forged in the heart of a storm. These offshore platforms are incredible feats of human ingenuity. They are monuments to our ability to solve complex problems. They allow us to reach resources deep beneath the ocean floor. But they are more than just machines. They are communities. They are homes to thousands of men and women who do a difficult and dangerous job. They work in isolation. They face extreme conditions. They make sacrifices to provide the energy that powers our world. Their lives are governed by rules, procedures, and the constant awareness of risk. Yet within that rigid framework, they build a culture of support and resilience. They rely on their training. They rely on the engineering. Most of all, they rely on each other. The story of an oil rig in a storm is not just about technology fighting nature. It is a story about human endurance. It is about the quiet courage required to work in one of the most challenging environments on Earth. It is a testament to the people who choose to make their living on these lonely steel islands in the sea. If this taught you something real, subscribe so the next story finds you. These structures are all around the world, each with its own story of challenge and survival. YouTube queued up a good follow-up. See how these rules hold up elsewhere. There is always more to learn about the hidden worlds that power our own. Keep going with the next recommended video and test what you've learned. The principles of safety, community, and engineering you saw here are universal. They apply in the deepest mines, the highest skyscrapers, and the most remote research stations. Thank you for watching.